Throughout history, society has celebrated the achievements of men as reflections of innate genius, while women's successes have often been minimized, framed as results of luck, chance, or the influence of others. This gendered lens shapes how we perceive talent and creativity, positioning men as naturally gifted and women as fortunate exceptions. The disparity in recognizing male and female achievement is not only unfair, it distorts our understanding of human potential and the value of hard work. This essay explores how this bias manifests in fields such as science, history, and the arts, highlighting the obstacles women face in gaining recognition for their accomplishments. The idea of the great man has long dominated narratives of success. Figures like Albert Einstein, Leonardo da Vinci, and Isaac Newton are often celebrated not just for their contributions, but as embodiments of innate genius, men whose brilliance seem to defy explanation. The mythology around these figures suggests that their achievements were the result of a unique, almost mystical intellectual capacity rather than years of dedication and effort. In contrast, women's accomplishments are rarely afforded the same reverence. When women achieve greatness, society is quick to attribute their success to external factors, luck, mentorship, or the support of male figures, rather than their own talent and determination. This double standard reflects a deeply ingrained bias that regards intellectual prowess and creativity as inherently masculine traits, while positioning women's accomplishments as anomalies. The scientific field provides some of the most striking examples of how society discounts women's achievements. Marie Curie, for instance, made groundbreaking contributions to our understanding of radioactivity, earning 2 Nobel Prizes, one in physics and another in chemistry. Yet even her incredible achievements were frequently overshadowed by a narrative that suggested her husband, Pierre Curie, was the true genius behind their collaborative work. Despite the fact that Marie's independent research earned her the 2nd Nobel Prize, she often struggled to be seen as more than a collaborator to her husband. Similarly, Rosalind Franklin's contributions to the discovery of DNA's double helix structure were largely dismissed in favor of celebrating James Watson and Francis Crick. Franklin's pioneering work with X-ray diffraction provided the critical evidence needed to identify the structure of DNA, yet Watson and Crick's names are far more likely to be associated with the discovery. The credit for this scientific breakthrough, essential for modern biology, was awarded to her male colleagues, while Franklin's role remained underappreciated for decades. This pattern of diminishing women's contributions while exalting male figures as solitary geniuses has been a recurring theme in the history of science. Another example is Ada Lovelace, considered the first computer programmer due to her work on Charles Babbage's early mechanical computer, the Analytical Engine. While Lovelace's visionary notes on this machine laid the groundwork for the modern concept of an algorithm, she was often relegated to the background in history books, her contributions overshadowed by Babbage's name. In recent years, movements like Ada Lovelace Day have sought to rectify this oversight, but the initial dismissal of her contributions illustrates how the myth of male genius has shaped our understanding of technological progress. The arts are another realm where women's accomplishments are often minimized. While men like Pablo Picasso and Vincent van Gogh are heralded as visionary artists whose works transcend time, women artists are often seen through a different lens. Georgia O'Keeffe, a pioneering American modernist painter, is celebrated today, but during her lifetime, her work was frequently interpreted through a gendered lens that sexualized her floral imagery, reducing her artistic vision to feminine sensibilities rather than acknowledging her creative mastery. In literature, women have faced similar dismissals of their genius. Mary Shelley's Frankenstein, widely considered the first science fiction novel, was initially attributed by some critics to her husband, Percy Bysshe Shelley, due to the assumption that a young woman could not have conceived such a profound and complex story. Even when her authorship was accepted, the groundbreaking nature of her work was often downplayed as a lucky inspiration, rather than a product of her literary talent and deep understanding of contemporary scientific debates. More recently, the author J.K. Rowling face skepticism from publishers who believe that boys would not want to read a fantasy book written by a woman, leading her to use initials instead of her full name. Although the Harry Potter series became a cultural phenomenon, the initial reception highlights how deeply ingrained the belief is that only men can achieve true literary greatness. In the corporate world, women leaders face a similar skepticism. When women achieve success as entrepreneurs or executives, their accomplishments are often attributed to luck, timing, or favorable circumstances rather than to their strategic thinking or leadership skills. Research has shown that when companies succeed under female CEOs, credit is more likely to be given to favorable market conditions, while male CEOs are often seen as the driving force behind a company's success. This bias further reinforces the notion that women's successes are flukes, not reflections of their abilities. One prominent example is the case of Indra Nooyi, who served as the CEO of PepsiCo for over a decade. Under her leadership, the company saw significant growth and diversification. However, discussions about her tenure frequently emphasized her luck in inheriting a strong brand rather than her strategic decisions that guided the company through complex market shifts. This stands in contrast to the way male CEOs are often depicted as singular visionaries. The tendency to attribute women's achievements to luck or outside help has far-reaching implications. It not only affects how society values women's work, but also influences how young girls and women perceive their own potential. When women's successes are seen as rare exceptions, it reinforces the idea that they are less likely to excel in fields traditionally dominated by men. This can discourage women from pursuing careers in STEM, leadership, and other male-dominated arenas, perpetuating gender disparities. Moreover, this narrative creates a distorted understanding of what genius truly is. It obscures the reality that most great achievements, whether by men or women, are the result of hard work, persistence, and a supportive environment. It also perpetuates the myth of the lone genius, which ignores the collaborative nature of most creative and scientific breakthroughs. To challenge the gendered lens of genius, it's crucial to celebrate the achievements of women, not as exceptions, but as integral parts of human progress. This involves changing how we teach history, emphasizing the contributions of women across all fields, and ensuring that media representation is equitable. Educational institutions should actively include the stories of figures like Rosalind Franklin, Ada Lovelace, and Katherine Johnson in curriculums, fostering a more inclusive understanding of genius. Social media has become a powerful tool for challenging traditional narratives. Campaigns like #WomenInSTEM and #VisibleWomen have emerged as ways to celebrate female innovators and creators, bringing their stories to the forefront in a way that traditional media often neglects. These movements are crucial in rewriting the narrative, showing that women's achievements are the result of talent and perseverance, not luck. Conclusion. The myth of innate male genius is a deeply rooted cultural bias that has long shaped how society views success and creativity. By continuing to frame women's achievements as products of luck rather than skill, we perpetuate a narrative that denies women their rightful place in history. It is time to recognize that genius knows no gender. True progress will come when we acknowledge the countless women whose talents have been minimized and celebrate their achievements with the same reverence that has long been reserved for men. By doing so, we not only create a more equitable society, but also enrich our understanding of the diverse paths that lead to greatness.